Hi, welcome to the 30-day Beach Ready Challenge, brought to you by the nutrition app SlimEazy. My name is Max, I'm a personal trainer, nutritionist and the founder of Kensington Fitness. The 30-day Beach Ready Challenge is designed to get you looking and feeling your best in the shortest time possible. By combining the two fundamental pillars of fitness, exercise and nutrition, we have been able to create a program that is not only effective, but so versatile you can use it anywhere. In this video, we're going to talk about things like what kinds of food to eat, what kinds of food to avoid, how to structure your meals, as well as a 15-minute exercise routine that you can use anywhere over the next 30 days. Okay, let's talk nutrition. Food is far more than just fuel. Nutrition plays a role in almost every physiological response that takes place in the body. If we want our bodies to look their best, they need to be working at their best. There are three components of your diet that we want you to pay special attention to over the next 30 days. The first one is carbohydrates. There's two types of carbohydrates that we're going to concentrate on today. The first is starchy carbohydrates and the second is vegetable carbs. Vegetable carbs are things like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, and starchy carbs we're talking about things like rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes. Carbohydrates provide fuel for almost every organ in the body, but they also contain something called starch. Now, starch is very low in calories, but will leave you feeling full and satisfied for a lot longer than most foods, and therefore less likely to reach for snacks. To determine the quantity of carbohydrates to add to each of your meals, we use the hand method. For starchy carbs, we say roughly a fist-sized serving, and for vegetable carbs, we say roughly a cupped handful. The second component that we're going to focus on is protein. Now, protein is found in things like eggs and dairy, but predominantly in meat, things like beef, fish, and chicken. Protein does everything from building our brain cells to building our muscle. To determine the portion of protein we want in each meal, we use a palm-sized serving. So for women, we want roughly the circumference and thickness of one palm, and for men, that's two. Now, the last component is fat. Fat is found in things like eggs and a lot of dairy, but predominantly in nuts and oil. And fat does everything from lining and protecting our cells to regulating our hormones. To determine the portion of fat we want, we use a thumb-sized serving. So for women, again, we want roughly the size of one thumb. That's how much nuts and oil to add to each meal. And for men, we want two. Let's talk about some of the things that we need to avoid. Again, there are three categories that we're going to focus on. The first one is high sugar snacks and foods with refined sugar in. These are things like cakes and cookies and biscuits, donuts, but also fresh fruit juices. Things like orange juice that often contain as much sugar as a can of fizzy drink. Another common misconception in the fitness world is that dietary fat is responsible for rising levels of obesity, when in actual fact it's largely down to the overconsumption of sugar. We eat too much sugar, it goes into our body and the body doesn't know how to handle it, so it stores it away as fat for later. The second category that we're going to look to minimise is grains and refined grains. Now, we're talking predominantly about bread here, white bread in particular. This has been through a manufacturing process, it's been chemically altered and affects the body adversely. But it also raises levels of a hormone called insulin. Now, insulin tells the body to start storing fat, so this is something we want to minimise as much as possible. And the last category that we're going to talk about is alcohol. Now, alcohol is an awful lot of empty calories for very little return. Alcohol will affect all aspects of your training and exercise, from how often you get into the gym to how you perform when you're there. You're far less likely to get to the gym and to exercise if you're feeling tired and you've been drinking, and you're not going to be performing as well when you're there if you do. We're going to give you 5 tips. The first tip is called the kitchen overhaul, and this is probably the most important. There's 2 stages to this. The first stage is going into the kitchen, clearing out the cupboards, clearing out the fridge of all those foods we talked about earlier, high sugar foods, refined sugar, grains, alcohol. And the second stage is to go out and perform a food shop, buy the good quality foods we need, the good quality meats and fresh vegetables, and to stock the cupboards and fridge back up so that they're there when you need them. The second tip is cooking in bulk. By simply adding a few ingredients to the recipe, it's very easy to end up with enough snacks, dinner and lunch for the next day or two. If you've got a large family, it saves time and money, and there's enough food left over for everyone. The third tip is a little bit about preparation. It's so important to prepare. We think it's a great idea to set aside a little bit of time each week, whether it's half an hour or 2 hours, to prepare your food sources. Chop your vegetables, prepare your meat, and leave them in Tupperware containers in the fridge, ready for those times when you're already hungry and desperate for food. The fourth tip is about getting in touch with your body. We think you should eat till about let's say roughly 80% full. This ensures you don't overeat and the body has enough time to deal with the food. A lot of us eat too fast and we eat too much, and that leaves the body with a lot of food to deal with very quickly, and it will store it away as fat. The last tip is superfoods. Superfoods contain lots of vitamins, minerals and nutrients, things like nuts and berries, apples and oranges. They should be a staple part of your diet and should make up most of the meals that we've talked about planning. That's it for this video and the nutrition guide. Thanks for watching all the way through. I hope you enjoyed it and feel you got a lot of information from it. Please feel free to like the video and share it if you did, so everyone else can see it. And if you've got any questions, pop them below and I'll be happy to answer them. That's it for this time. We look forward to seeing you in the next video, where we'll be talking about your 15-minute exercise routine.